and ameliorating the sufferings of Nigerians. So the 2024 budget will be a budget that would answer to the needs of Nigerians. It is a budget that is taking into reasons the current situation. It is a budget that Mr. President is prioritizing Nigerians. He is prioritizing the vulnerable and the most vulnerable. So Nigerians should expect very good things from the budget.
Okay. But as you know, we're in the midst of this crushing inflation. Well, I suppose one has to be grateful for little things. It's not as if our situation is the worst, but we've been in this double-digit inflation, and we're somewhere around, I believe the figure is 27.2% inflation rate. Now, this is biting on a lot of Nigerians, and I don't know what your thoughts are going towards next year, whether that will come down, because it looks like we're going to need every kobo of the budget, because there's so many things that the budget has to take account of. I've been reading that we're going to set aside money for pensions and salaries, and with inflation also eating into it, this is going to have to be very, very carefully managed, I imagine.
Yes. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is very conscious of this fact, and we're looking at inflation dipping to about 21% from the current 26% by 2024. And the rising food prices, if one of the actions that the president took as soon as he assumed office was to initiate a plan to secure Nigerians food-wise, this food security plan. Of course, there is an understanding that there are rising food prices, and action has been initiated to curb this rise, particularly in the area of provisioning fertilizer, seedlings, and other farming inputs to farmers, so as to boost productivity. So very much it's been taken into cognizance here in managing inflation, basically. Yeah.
And how are we going to fund this budget? One learns from the minister's statement that, look, we're going to be targeting 1.78 million barrels of oil, and an oil price we're going to be assuming $73.96, almost $74 to the barrel. Give me an assessment of that expectation. How realistic is it? 1.78 million barrels per day.
It is a realistic projection. It is very feasible. Recall that owing to the activities of oil theft, there was a plummet in oil production, But now this particular problem is being arrested, is being tackled. So we are looking at a projection of about oil production capacity of about 1.7 million barrels per day. It is very feasible. Right now, I think in September we did 1.3 million barrels per day. So it is expected to increase. And beyond the oil revenue source, we're also looking at non-oil revenue source. We're looking at areas, like communications. Digital communications is about the fastest revenue generator for Nigeria right now. It generated about 18% added 18% to the GDP. That was in the second quarter of 2022, and it is expected to rise. So beyond the oil-based revenue source, there is also other sources. So the essence here is diligent revenue mobilization through efficient taxation.
And as I said earlier, one sees that provision has been made for salaries. This is a necessary, pressure on the budget, and also this whole matter of pensions, which has been a very urgent matter. All of these, it's a sort of a different subject matter, but it's also next to this whole matter of creating unemployment. The one that has been created, the obligations as a result of those ones, the tenures coming to an end, is also a draw on government that has an implication for social stability and security?
Yes, like I said earlier, Mr. President understands the essence of creating jobs. He's very passionate about creating jobs. So the budget essentially will be financing critical sectors that will stimulate employment. It will be financing critical sectors that would, revive the economy and set it on an upward trajectory. So the budget is a potpourri of a lot of things that will cover critical areas, stimulate growth where necessary. And we are looking at 3.7 growth by 2024. And there are other metrics that will come to play. So the budget, Nigerians should have high expectations, because I believe their needs will be met, their needs will be covered. Every area is covered: agriculture, digital communications, SMEs, as well as infrastructure. So the budget contains, it is truly the budget of renewed hope. It is a budget that would set us on the path of an economic recovery. It is a budget that Nigerians should look forward to, basically. And talking about SMEs, it is the president's ambition to grow Nigeria's 450 billion GDP to $1 trillion in the next 8 years. So SMEs are crucial to the administration. Already there is a pledge to disburse about 125 billion naira to this sector to stimulate growth and to support small businesses. So the budget it's a very good one.
And this growth, part of it is an estimate of the economy expected to grow to around, the figure is 3.76% next year, even as we spoke about the inflation at an all-time high. But the economy is expected to grow along the lines that you have just sort of enumerated. Because all other things being equal, if anything happens, this is what economists also always worry about. If anything happens to the projections, it happened once in the case of oil, suddenly, the price of oil doing what it wanted, which was contrary to all the projections that had been made. But by and large, I think they've taken a nice, hard scientific look at it and think that it's reasonable to expect our economy to grow by about 3.76% next year.
The oil benchmark is conservative. It's around $73. That is what we are pegging it at. But right now, I believe it's around $95. So it's conservative, and it's a very feasible, realistic projection, basically. So I would like to also zero in on the 5 interventions Mr. President has made so far in the economy for the interest of Nigerians. We know that Mr. President initiated the full security plan to curb the rising prices of food. He also signed 4 executive orders to address multiple taxations and other strictures to businesses. And he also, the monetary policy that has been initiated by the CBN, which is realistic, feasible, and forward-looking, and as well as the SMEs, the plan for the SMEs to boost their capacity and, of course, sustainability in the long term. So the budget is, like I said, it's very realistic, it's feasible, it's conservative, it looks at all the indices, all the critical areas that need investments, all the critical areas that need stimulation, that needs growth. So the budget takes into account all these factors clearly.
Because the expectation is very high that this administration, President Bola Tinubu in particular, he's the front man. He has a whole team working with him. But he's the guy who took away fuel subsidy. That's the way it is seen. It's not a matter of debating whether or not it is necessary. It was necessary. It has been done. It's a project that has been kicked down the road for a long time. But he now, is expected to do whatever can be done to lessen the effect on Nigerians who are groaning, as you yourself know. Most of us, most ordinary people like, no, I shouldn't include you in ordinary people, but most ordinary people like us know that these are very, very tough times. And it is expected that something is going to be done, has to be done, beyond just handing out money. And maybe that's where this whole investment and employment comes into it. Something has to be done to ease the pain.
Mr. President is prioritizing Nigerians in the budget. He's prioritizing the vulnerable. He's prioritizing the most vulnerable. He's prioritizing Nigerians, you know. And as you well know, with the removal of subsidy on fuel, actions were initiated immediately, showing that there was a preparation before now. Actions were initiated to address the concerns of Nigerians, showing that Mr. President is very attuned to the needs of Nigerians. Actions, like I mentioned earlier, the food security plan was initiated. The CGN initiative to stimulate growth in the energy sector, as well as to reduce transportation costs, was initiated, as well as funds to state governments to help them invest in critical infrastructure like transportation, so as to reduce the weight on their citizens. You know, lots of plans were rolled out, showing that the president was prepared, you know, ahead of time for this. And the budget will also be boosting, you know, these areas, you know, as well. You know, the social investment program already is on the roll. So the budget will be one that would address the needs, the critical needs of Nigerians, the critical areas, the critical sectors, you know, looking at all these areas, all the sectors that need stimulation, that needs growth, you know, high employment sectors that will bring about the most employment for Nigerians, like agriculture, telecommunications, digital communications. You know, these are sectors that have the capacity to generate the most jobs, you know, SMEs as well. So the budget is heavy on these areas because the whole idea is, one, to tackle inflation, to build economic resilience, and as well to rebuild our buffers, our fiscal buffers. So the budget, you know, is very heavy on this.
All right, then. In the meanwhile, Lawal has called in from Ajao Estate. Good morning to you, Mr. Lawal. Okay, we thought we had Mr. Lawal on the phone, but going back to you, where in case Mr. Lawal would join us as soon as he can hear us, maybe he can't hear us yet. You were speaking about transportation costs, and a large part of that is fuel, and this is coming from the pains that we are seeing. You know, it's not news anymore by now as a result of the removal of subsidy on fuel, decades long. We've become used to it. But the cheering news was that CNG, compressed natural gas, it's a new concept to a lot of people in Nigeria. Maybe the specialists would have known about it before. But stations are going to be set up, facilities are going to be set up and down the land, so that, and that's going to probably take a pretty penny out of it. I understand that Mr. Lawal is now ready for us. Good morning, Mr. Lawal. Not so. We said, I was just told that you can hear us now. Mr. Lawal in Ajao Estate, are you there?
Hello?
Oh, finally.
Yeah,
good morning. Good morning. Quickly, please.
Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Lawal. We can hear you. Quickly go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning. Can I want to contribute to Uncle Yori's program.
Thank you very much for calling in. Go right ahead.
You said what?
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to contribute to your program this morning.
Okay.
So it was a long time I've been trying to get in touch with you.
We're very happy you made it now. Our guest is Frederick Wabufo, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Engagement. What did you want to ask him or contribute to the conversation?
So I used to enjoy your program. Then two, now concerning this economy issue, we would like that our gentleman there, because we believe he's part of the government. Now we want to bring an idea concerning this, the palliative to Nigerian citizens. Now, I think I want to make an advice, just because to make it easy, because the tensions are very high now. The fact that 7.5%, can federal government please refer it back to normal 5%, because the suffering are much. So I think this one will be part of the contribution to the palliative to general public of Nigeria. Now, because whatever you bought, any transaction you made, both bank, everything, you are paying this 7.5%, which is very high.
Okay, so you're talking about value-added tax.
The subsidy is no more there now. Why can't government just please refer that fat back to 5%?
Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Lawal. Really do appreciate your call. We had a difficulty getting you, but finally. Well, Fred, you heard him. Is government thinking about other areas they can cut the people some slack, which is what Mr. Lawal is suggesting?
Mr. President is very attuned to Nigerians. He's a listening person. He's very aware of all that is happening. And that is why he set up the Tax Reform Committee to look at our tax system, holistically, and to provide solutions and suggestions in areas where necessary to make it more efficient, to make it much more conducive for Nigerians, for businesses, and as well to strengthen it where necessary. Like I mentioned earlier, already as soon as he got to office, he issued 4 executive orders, basically to address multiple taxation, to address the problems, strictures affecting businesses. So this shows that he's forward-thinking. He is aware. He's taking action in line with the needs, priorities of Nigerians. So it's an area the government is already looking into. The Tax Reform Committee is still, its work is still ongoing. So we expect that every need, every concern will be properly handled.
Okay. Well, it's just as well that Mr. Lawal, they are calling from Ajao Estate, brought up the whole matter of tax, and you've spoken about the tax reform committee. So part of the objective of government, of course, is to get a lot more efficient, whereas at the same time dealing with this whole matter of multiple or double taxations, trying to streamline it as much as possible, but also it's a source of revenue for government. And one of the observations was that there are far too many people outside of the tax net. So part of making it a lot more efficient is not just streamlining all those areas where there are multiple taxations in terms of double taxation, some people say triple, but also including more people within the net. Too many people, it is thought, were outside of the tax net. And so that's something that also probably bears mentioning.
Yeah, that's true. It is also one of the areas the Tax Reform Committee is looking at, how to make our tax system more vibrant, more efficient, how to mobilize funds, from the tax system to make it. So it is where Mr. President is already looking at. And I think he mentioned something about palliative, giving money to vulnerable people. It is also an essential mechanism. 5,000 naira, it's worth something to vulnerable Nigerians. I know that. Some of them actually don't have worth, as much as 5,000 goods, as much as 5,000 naira. So the reformed and revamped social investment program that was recently initiated by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, it looks at the problem holistically and much more robustly. So instead of 5,000, I believe the federal government will be giving 15 million vulnerable Nigerians 25,000 naira monthly, for 3 months. So that is also an area that is expected to stimulate, productivity for those that will invest in their businesses, and also for those that would, invest in areas that the funds are needed. So it's part of the measures the government is introducing, among other measures that it has already introduced and has kicked in already. So it is, the federal government is looking at the problem holistically in all areas, in all angles. It's taking action as regards tax. It has taken action as regards wage improvement. It is taking action in the area of palliative as well as in the area of transportation through CGN powered vehicles. So it is looking at the problem holistically, not just in one direction, but in multifarious directions. So that is what the government is doing.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, Fred. Mr. Frederick Nwabufo, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Engagement, as it were, touching on the 2024 budget with a focus on investment and also looking at aspects of it. I would like to thank you very much, Frederick, for coming on our program this morning. Appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yori. It's my pleasure.
All right, then. So what we'll do is that we'll take a break. We'll continue on, our polity, but this time we'll switch over to look at law enforcement in a sort of way, talking about the new leadership of the EFCC and the task ahead for that. That's when we come back. Stay with us, please.
It's not your regular show.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and governments to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest this time is Mr. Bashir Shehu. Mr. Shehu is a legal practitioner and was a member of the Tinubu Support Group media team. That organization is probably defunct now, but a fine morning to you, Mr. Shehu.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. Let's talk about the EFCC from a point of view of, I imagine, a reorganization that's going to be going on in there, by which I mean that we have a new EFCC executive chair recently appointed and approved by the Senate, by the President, and that's in the person of Mr. Ola Olukoyede. Now, he's a lawyer like your very good self. This is a break from the tradition in the past. And I thought we might look at what really to expect, the task ahead for, barrister, as we say locally, Ola Olukoyede as the executive chair of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Let me just observe that it's seen as something of a perilous office in the sense that in the entire history of the EFCC, no executive chair has actually completed their tenure. We certainly wish the new EFCC chairman the best of luck, but let's talk about the task ahead for the EFCC.
Well, thank you so much, Uncle Yori. First and foremost, let me say a very big thank you to Mr. President for listening to the yearnings of the people and stakeholders who have been clamoring for change in the operational method of the Commission, who have been yearning for professionalism, improved professionalism of the Commission. I must say, first of all, say something before I go further. Since the appointment of Mr. Olukoyede, there have been arguments left and right, front and back, correct or not correct. But let me say something here. As a very critical stakeholder, a former staff of the Commission, a contributor to anti-corruption strategy, the fight against corruption, I am the sole author of the blueprint that led to the creation of Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, headed by Professor Sage. We have been on this for a long time. There have been an argument in the past since they have been complaining about the inefficiency of the Commission. How do we improve in the operational ethics and etiquette of the Commission? And there have been this argument with respect to who can do better. A lot of people have actually said the police didn't do well, being the former, this didn't do well. Now the president is now aware of the need to do a kind of remedy, emergency operation on the Commission. Let me start by also saying this. The problem of this country largely is corruption, okay? And there's nothing you can do, just time you can achieve not acting, okay? Now, another thing is, foremost in the fight against corruption is the EFCC. And I've said at one time, if you must save this country, we must fight corruption. If you must fight corruption, then we must not compromise on EFCC. Okay? Now, going by what the plan has just done, now, the end result of any fight against corruption is to increase deterrence in order to save the economy from being plundered. In any case, if there's no effective deterrence method, a lot of people will improve or will continue to commit corruption. Now, there's an argument that the EFCC cannot be properly so managed unless you have a lawyer who understands what is prosecution. What exactly do we want to achieve? Are we just here to make noise, EFCC, or we are here to get results? Okay? A lot of government money is in the hands of so many people, stashed away. What do we need to do? Now, what the president has just done is to appoint somebody who have a basic understanding of what EFCC requires. Being in the forefront of that agency before now, who has been the secretary. The position of the secretary is not a small position. For those arguing that is qualified, is not qualified, I don't have to go into that anymore. It has been done and the gentleman has been confirmed. Well, so confirmed. Now, the task ahead. Let me split this into two. I will say both internal task and external task. And I'm going to say this without mincing word. Okay? You cannot conduct an operation on the outside if you don't take care of the inside problem. Let me say this to you today, my brother. There's a lot of internal problems that the gentleman must be ready to solve. Unless this is solved, we can't get to anywhere. There have been complaints of staff placements, okay, over placement, under placement of some people. There have been complaints of some particular set of professionals in the commission, I'm talking about the lawyers, who have been, downgraded and relatively forgotten. They have not been given the right place of their placement. You cannot achieve anything unless you have the internal arrangement that's actually in line with ethics. Let me give you an example, okay? I don't know of anywhere else. I must say this before I go further. The gentleman, Mr. Olukoyede, has his job cut out for him unless he, is ready to face the reality without minding whose horse is God. We can't achieve anything. And I pray that he has that guts to do the right thing. I have no doubt about it that he can do exactly what needs to be done. For instance, something happened very recently, something very, very bad, very recently. And I must say this so that they will know exactly why Mr. President appointed Olukoyede as a lawyer who understands better what an administration and prosecution should look like. Let me tell you one thing. EFCC should be intelligence-driven, okay, so that it will be operationally effective and prosecutorially efficient. If you don't do that, you cannot go anywhere. Let me give an example of something that happened last year, something very bad, okay? We have a situation in public service roles I have never seen anywhere where a junior will become the boss of a senior, a level 13, aiding a level 15 in the same agency. How do you want such agency to operate in an effective way? There will be imbalance in, cadre placement. These are the tasks I have for the chairman. For him, he has to make sure that he do internal surgery. Okay, it is an aberration. Let me also tell you one thing. Just last year, recruitment was done. People were employed. They were sent to training school. In that training school, okay, after about 6 months, about 50 lawyers who were there in the training, who were supposed to be cadet officers, were removed from training, while others continue. Let me tell you why. Somebody was in charge that time, think lawyers shouldn't be properly trained as operative. So if we do them, now the sentiment now is that they are half operative. This is the danger. There have been this unfortunate dichotomy of the operative and the prosecutors, the lawyers and the operative. It is not allowing the commission to move further. And I've said it times that number, that EFCC is not a job for the boys' place. EFCC, you are not coming to EFCC to work and to look for a job. You are coming to EFCC to serve, like police, like DSS, like NDLA. So if you look at what has happened to EFCC in recent times, you will notice that it has actually virtually lost its focus. And this is why you see the sister agencies, like DSS, like police, like NDLA, now reactivating their anti-corruption department because the EFCC is not forthcoming. So these are the things that the new chairman must actually look into and regain and bring back the glory, the honor, the confidence that Nigerians have in EFCC. We cannot afford to continue like this. And I've said this times with that number. We cannot continue like this.
Sorry to butt in a bit. Beyond the glory and the honor, all of which might have their place, most importantly, I think Nigerians just want the EFCC to be efficient, fearlessly efficient, but fair as well. And when you were saying earlier that Mr. Olukoyede, has a basic understanding, actually, you're the expert here. I thought he has more than a basic understanding because we understand, well, apart from him being a lawyer, which you've spoken about, he's also a regulatory compliance consultant and a specialist in fraud management and corporate intelligence. It means, from the point of view of those of us on the outside there, that very little is going to get past him, especially that whole bit about him being a specialist in fraud management and corporate intelligence, apart from him being a regulatory compliance consultant. And then you throw on top of that the fact that he's a seasoned lawyer of more than a couple of decades. Now, as you know, they say that when you fight corruption, corruption is going to fight you back. It's going to push back. I would just sort of seek your What do you think as to, you said Mr. Olukoyede's work has been cut out for him. Do you think, he can take that push back? One recalls with a bit of amusement when a similar kind of a question was posed to him in the Senate. He had said that, well, even the distinguished and respected Senate president is actually under investigation. So that will tell you how far one will go, that we don't look at face, we just look at the law here.
Let me also say this. When I use the word basic, I'm not saying that on the lower term. I'm not saying the chairman just has a no, not exactly. I'm saying that he has a full understanding of the commission, and nobody can say anything
about his qualification.
Nobody can say anything negative to that. He's fully qualified, he's fully competent, and he can achieve the whole lot for that commission. And I can tell you, this is the first time you'll be having, okay, let me say this to you. I don't know if anybody actually thought about this, that Mr. President is fighting and declaring a war, probably an emergency against the fight against corruption. Let me tell you why. This is the first time in the history of this country since the two principal agencies were created, the ICPC and EFCC, that will have two practicing learned lawyers. There's a reason for that. And let me tell you the reason. EFCC and ICPC, as it were, they are both supposed to be prosecution agencies. They need the expertise of grounded lawyers who can actually do exactly what needs to be done. And this is the reason. So Mr. Olukayede is definitely in tune, very, very well qualified, well prepared to lead the agencies. And I'm very, very certain, that he's going to do the right thing for the commission to move forward. Now, having said that, on the issue of the method, the investigation with respect to what the Senate President said, this is why, if you listen to the chairman's screening before the Senate, he said EFCC will be tech-driven. In this 21st century, you cannot engage in, 19th century operation models and expect to get results. That's the need for you to improve the use of technology in fighting corruption. Okay? The bottom line is that we are not fighting corruption for the purpose of just making noise. You want to do it because you want to reduce the rate of the crime in society so that I can save the economy from plundering. Okay? Now, if you listen to what he said, he mentioned the use of tech. And let me give an example. I'm very sure there's a talk going on with the need to, improve the way Nigerian money is even spent. And I can tell you, let me give an example of a possibility, okay, of what technology can do to improve the fight against corruption. The fight against corruption should not always be investigation, anything. Why are we not using preventive method? Okay, the best way to use preventive method is this. For instance, Nigerian budget is 20,000 naira. Just for example, okay, from the budget office, from the Ministry of Finance, the money will leave Nigerian purse. From the moment it's leaving Nigerian purse, a token is attached to every transfer up to the last minute that the money will be spent. There's no way you can get Nigerian money from Nigerian purse without a trace. In any case, when such money is to be diverted, a red flag is raised to prevent such. It will save government a lot of resources in investigation, when you engage in preventive method. So the bottom line is that we cannot continue to do things the same way and expect different results. We need to focus on what needs to be done. And I want us to give the government, the administration, the right opportunity for the right policy to be implemented so that we can get the right results.
Indeed. And just in line with what you are saying, it goes back to one of the things you sort of know about the new chair of EFCC, Olaolu Koyede. That part of his qualification, him being a regulatory compliance consultant, he's worked in this field, and one of the ways society moves on smoothly is this: everybody complies with the regulations. There are regulatory bodies, there are standards, there are, there are bylaws, there are principles, all of which now Olukoyede is coming in, that has been his field, regulatory compliance. And so he's going to, I imagine that he's going to probably be better placed than most in his new role to be able to scrutinize that area, because I imagine that when you broach all these strictures, all these regulatory compliance. I remember there's something like this also in the central bank, where the new guy in charge in central bank, he is jokingly referred to, well, his nickname among his close colleagues is headmaster, because he's going to insist on every last detail being complied with. You're going to cross the T's, you're going to dot the I's, otherwise something is likely to go wrong. Well, now, Olukoyede coming in now, and the guy's whole field, in addition to whatever other qualification he has, is that he's been a consultant in that area, and also is a specialist in fraud management and corporate intelligence. You spoke about the role of technology in all of that. So it looks like this is it's going to be an exciting time for, the war against corruption. Maybe you can actually nip it very much in the bud, from this whole matter about ensuring that regulatory compliance is not messed with.
Okay, again, let's go to the rules of ethics. Okay, in any organization, okay, there are rules which must be complied with. The basic problem we have always had is simply because we refuse to enforce those compliance. Or when we do it so biasly. When we do it so with such a imbalanced favoritism. Okay? When we do it because we apply one to one and we don't apply one to the other. Let me give an example. I have to say this. Every organization has a role. Okay? There are staff regulations. Okay? You cannot, I repeat, you cannot solve the external problem unless you solve the internal problem. Okay? There are rules in every agency. How do you do your things? What are the steps you should take in doing your things?
Do people comply with those rules? That is part of the challenge.
No, they don't.
Exactly.
And let me give you an example.
One moment. Let me bring in, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me bring in David, who has called in from Mowe. Sorry to interrupt you. Good morning, Mr. David in Mowe.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to make a comment on, the current, situation in our country. When the president, took over, there was an emergency on food security. I think the situation has now warranted an emergency on the security situation. And I think it is not only the duty of the military alone, but the National Assembly also has to take back. Let me give the reason why. Now, these kidnappers, any one of them that is arrested, they are sent to the usual court. It could take about 6 months, for instance, for a decision to be taken. Why can't there be a situation in which, if the kidnappers knows that if they are caught, for instance, if the last day, there will be deterrent. I can assure you that 50% of these situations, we cease. If there's a special court to try, all these people, I think, we should look into that. And it is the duty of the National Assembly or the President first to declare a National Assembly and national security. To declare an emergency. Then 2, I think, the issue of, the law has to be looked into, especially, from the National Assembly. Let them institute a law in which, there will be deterrent for all this thing that is happening.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David, calling in from Mowe there. Okay, we're going back to the same thing. And, Mr. Shehu, we have just a little time left. But sometimes this whole matter about nipping a problem in the bud, and this is where the regulatory compliance expertise of the incumbent chair, as well as his specialization in fraud management and corporate intelligence is going to come into very good, stand him in very good stead, because people have wanted to see more prosecutions from the EFCC. Now, a lawyer at the helm, in addition to him being very, very close to the operations of a body like that, surely should help, along the lines of what Mr. David was saying, that prosecutions is what people want.
Well, I don't know if you remember, if you watched the screen of the Honorable Minister of Justice and General Federation, he said one thing in that screen, that he is going to unbundle the anti-corruption agencies. When he said that, he was particular about how do they change the operational tactics. He particularly said one thing. The Honorable Minister said, the time that you make arrest and do all the media investigation without even having the evidence, he's gone. Unless you get your facts right, you just go to the streets and arrest anybody, try them on the media. We don't want such to repeat itself again. If you don't have your evidence, don't go anywhere. If you have, do the right prosecution. And another thing is this. If you are giving your job to anybody, okay, to do, you must give it to those that actually know the job. Okay? This is why I'm so happy that a properly trained lawyer, a seasoned compliance expert, is coming into play as the chairman of that commission. He is going to do the right thing that agency needs at this material time. Because let me tell you the truth, at this point in time, this is the best time that we can remedy the dueling fortune in court of the EFCC. Otherwise, we're having problems. There's serious operational lapses on the part of the EFCC before now. And moving forward, we need to do the right thing to ensure that the right operational modus is employed in doing the work. If you want to prosecute when you have your evidence. Okay? Don't arrest and start doing investigation after arrest when you don't have any fact. It doesn't speak well of the agency. The media, let me also tell you one thing that is also very germane. I have to say this here, very, very important. Okay?
Very briefly,
one of the internal
problems, almost run out of time. Go ahead, but very briefly.
Problem that the chairman, one of the internal problems that the chairman must be ready to face, and this is it. The time that somebody that is far, far below the rank of other staff will be ahead of them should be gone. The time that somebody will move from level 13 to 17 without adverts, no exam, no anything, will be promoted while others are not promoted, should be gone. There should be justice, fairness, equity in EFCC. That's the best way to go for now.
And that's a fine place to leave it. And I want to thank you very much, Mr. Bashir Shehu, legal practitioner. And as I said, you used to be a member of the now defunct Tinubu Support Group media team. Really appreciate your coming on our show this morning. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's our program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. So please join us for the next edition, which is on Monday. Do have a great weekend. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas.
And nothing can stop me. That woman is wicked. I love you all. Get lost, wretched, poor thing.
She must be bipolar.
The money, power, respect I have, I did it by doing everything.
That low-budget Beyonce.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Do you struggle with having an active and healthy lifestyle due to your busy schedule? Do you find it difficult to make it to the gym? You want to improve your overall health, but don't know where and how to start? Medical experts agree that walking, running, and jogging are amongst the best ways to stay fit and enjoy a great active and healthy lifestyle. What if there was a convenient and affordable way to improve your health, improve your mood, and lose weight right in your own home? Introducing the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill, the compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX digital compact treadmill system complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home. I simply unfold it and use it while I watch my favorite program on TV.
Joining the gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 600,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX treadmill to save the cost and work out from the convenience of your home. You could pay 500,000 naira for a treadmill like this, but you can get the SportX treadmill for not 400,000 naira, not even 300,000 naira. Order right now and get this for just 294,500 naira only. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the SportX digital compact treadmill delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria. The SportX compact digital treadmill comes with ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the treadmill, send it back for a full refund. But hurry, limited stock available. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Alan, thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour.